You know, in today's rapidly evolving technology landscape, security is more important than ever. And the cloud has become a critical component of most modern applications, but securing it can be complex and challenging. That's why I'm having candid conversations about cloud infrastructure security with AWS community builders and AWS heroes. Join me, Brandon Carroll, in my hallway conversations where we'll explore the latest trends and best practices in cloud infrastructure security. We'll share insights and experiences, and we'll learn from each other. So whether you're a developer, a security practitioner, or an IT leader, these conversations will help you to stay up to date on the latest security trends and solutions and provide you with practical advice to help you secure your cloud infrastructure. So, before we get started in our interview for today, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Let's go. Hey, what's up everybody? Brandon here with another hallway chat. And today I am at the AWS Summit in Berlin. We got a little bit of that going on in the background. I'm joined today by Johannes. He's one of our AWS community builders. Johannes, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you so much for having me, Brandon.
Good, yeah. Thanks for setting some time aside to sit and chat. I've been doing these hallway conversations and just trying to have open technical conversations about security.
Okay.
And just kind of see where it takes us.
Yeah, let's see. Let's try it out.
Yeah. We'll see what. Yeah, we'll see what comes up. So, one of the first things that I like to ask when it comes to security is with your experience with AWS. What about it is important when it comes to security? Like maybe that's not your day-to-day job. In fact, let's start there. What's your day-to-day job?
My day-to-day job at the moment is building cicd pipelines for a platform that my organization builds at the end, involved heavily in that part, and then also some DevOps kind of roles in terms of getting things connected, making sure that we deploy the right stuff in the right places.
Okay.
I touch a lot on security issues, of course, right?
Yeah.
Not issues, but security challenges that you actually need to solve as well.
Yeah.
I think from an AWS perspective, something that when I started to work with AWS was very insightful, right? Was the idea of having that shared responsibility model where kind of stuff that AWS takes on and other stuff that we need to take on, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of mind-blowing in a lot of situations. That was like 6 years ago, right? So I'm kind of way over that.
Yeah.
But still, all of that made it clear to me that security is one of the most important things that you need to build into whatever you do.
Yeah.
And that's...
Okay, so I think, would you say 6 years ago, right?
Oh my God, it's even more. I started
More than
2015.
15, right? Okay. So when you first start out, I know the shared responsibility model is something that comes up like right away. And people look at that and they go, okay, well, to me it's pretty clear. It's like here's the stuff that AWS is going to handle the security for. And here's the stuff that you as the customer have to handle security for. How long did it take you, do you think, before that idea kind of just, you weren't so worried about that anymore? You knew what you needed to do and you weren't worried about the AWS side of things.
I would say, can you ever not be worried about security? So that's kind of my thing, right? So yes, we have taken some steps, right? Moving away from EC2 instances that we started with at the end towards other services, EKS, ECS, also then looking at lambdas, managed runtime lambda and stuff like that. But still you need to worry about it, right? Because there's always potential things that could happen, and you also need to look at that, right? And just, I think a few of the recent security breaches that we saw, I think it was last year, it went through this CI process, right? So that's kind of where I'm really focused at the moment, right? Is how do we get security into the CI pipeline and into the CD pipeline for anything that we deploy on AWS, right? How do we ensure that we don't get any holes in it, we don't get any packages like Log4Shell, right, that are not supported anymore or not following security standards. And that's kind of where I'm looking at. And And then at the next stage, how do I secure my pipeline, right? So if I have a Jenkins running on EC2, and that might be difficult, right? I need to ensure that I regularly update EC2. However, if I can use a managed service like GitHub Actions or Code Catalyst workflows, right, then the one that offers that is responsible at least to not allow breaches into that CI/CD pipeline, right? And
so it's interesting that you bring up those managed services, right? Because in the shared responsibility model, there's a lot of stuff that a customer is responsible for, and like you said, you never stop thinking about that. The AWS side of things, you know they're going to handle it, so maybe it doesn't keep you up at night like when you first start out, you're like, well, all this stuff I've got to worry about.
Yeah.
But eventually, you don't worry about that, you worry about your stuff.
Yeah.
Once you go to a managed solution, what does that change as far as your responsibility versus the AWS responsibility?
Yeah, let's use Java, Lambda as an example, right? So if you look at Lambda, the shared responsibility model offers you that AWS takes the responsibility for everything that is below your code at the end, right? So you don't need to think about how do I manage the security for that container or that potential piece of code that is being started up. I just need to make sure that the code that I put into Lambda is kind of as secure as possible. Yeah. That's the same. I'm going to talk again about CI/CD, right? The CI/CD pipeline flow, right? If you need to manage the infrastructure that actually executes your CI/CD process, whatever that looks like, then you're responsible for making sure that the used AMIs are updated, that all of the used packages are updated and stuff like that. However, if you rely on specific things, right, then like I'm going to mention Code Catalyst again, right? Code Catalyst workflows is a possibility where AWS even offers you to have some of the actions that are already kind of secured and built in, right? So you can rely on those being already secured, and then the only piece that you're responsible for is that piece of YAML code or that piece of pipeline code that executes your build process. That's where managed services really make a difference from my perspective.
Yeah. So where do you begin? Like, let's say that somebody's walking into your role. Where are they going to start?
So one of the pitches that I've been playing lately is any software project that you start needs to start with a CI/CD pipeline. And the CI/CD pipeline that you have needs to be as good as possible, right? To include all of those security scanning tools that ensure that the code that you then ship later is also secure enough, right? Yeah. This includes, if you look at dynamic code scanning, static code analysis, which should be very at the beginning of the pipeline, but it also includes like infrastructure scanning like CDK NAC or CFN NAC, something like that, right? Having a pipeline that gives the product team that piece out of the box and gives them an introduction into that, right? That's something that I believe that we need to do better, and that will empower developers to also think about security in the moment that they try to push something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't mind,
yeah.
You looked at the blueprints already for Code Catalyst?
Yeah.
The ones that we have today, they are cool, but they are not good. And I've been giving that feedback to the team as well, so it's
I want that feedback,
right? The feedback really is, if we need to build pipelines that really have that DevSecOps mindset included, if we include them in the blueprints. Otherwise, we're enabling customers to deploy faster, which is cool with the blueprints, but we're not giving them that opinionated solution that Code Catalyst tries to do, right? Which is giving builders tools at hand to be more efficient and iterate faster, but at the same time ensuring that best practices are held.
Yeah.
And that's where shared responsibility model with Code Catalyst can become even better, right? If AWS takes the responsibility to provide you blueprints that they update regularly with the rules, with the tools, and all of that stuff that should be part of a state-of-the-art CI/CD pipeline.
Yeah. That's the future.
That's what I hope for, and that's what I know that the team is going to work on, right? So I'm really looking forward for that to also come true.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So start off with a security in the beginnings.
Yes.
And a good pipeline.
Yes.
Right, and integrate it into your pipeline. Make sure security's there every step of the way. Okay.
Because only if you integrate security at the heart of every automation step on your way to production in your business flow, right? Yeah. Only then you will get the actual developer to ensure that he is in line, he does follow those best practices, right? So think of it from a perspective of, and might sound bad, right? Some AWS services, they started to preview like Application Composer, Code Catalyst, and then they get to GA. A big step in that GA process is to reach all of those security checkpoints and all of those pre-primary checkpoints that you guys have, right? And now having that embedded in your pipeline and making sure that, yes, you can deploy to development environments, yes, you can deploy into preview, but the moment that you want to deploy into GA environment, you need to hit all of those security scans by 100%, right? And that's where I think that level of control that somehow we need to introduce from a security standpoint, right, helps us to deliver better software. And that's what we try.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? What are some common mistakes that you see people make?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll include that tool later. We are going to disable that threshold at the moment, right? We're going to look at it then, and then it's going to work. Those are kind of the most things that happens, because that's technical debt, right? That you start up building, and you will have people developing, and even if it's like 2 weeks, you will have 150 lines of code that have not been scanned. So the moment that you now turn it on, you have those 150 lines of code with 5 vulnerabilities. The moment that you turn it on directly, right, you're going to have 5 lines of code, 1 fix, 5 lines of code, 1 fix, and the developer will have in mind what he just did a minute ago. And that's where I think that we need to get better at empowering teams to do that.
Yeah, okay. Where do you go to stay up to date on everything that's, best practice and current practices? Where do you find that stuff?
Good question. There's so many possibilities to get things.
Google.
Actually, well, Google does not always show you the truth, right? Google even has one of my articles on the top, right? It's kind of outdated already. So I know that Google is not always up to date. I think for me, really, the community builders is a community where a lot of people post a lot of cool stuff and practices of where they do things, right? So share links to YouTube channels, or also on DevTO we have an organization where there's a lot of stuff. It's the same for the heroes, by the way. But then also AWS blogs. Here the challenge is there's so many that I don't really know where to look at the moment, right? And the context, the tagging is kind of getting difficult for me as well. But more reliable sources is what I'm looking at, right? And trying to keep up to date.
Good. And then one more question for you. What tools, you got any like open source tools that you're using that you want to share with everybody?
From a security standpoint, well, I'm kind of sometimes using Sneak, sometimes using Kix checkmark for infrastructure scanning. Okay. Already mentioned CDK NAC, CFN NAC accordingly. There's the other open source tools that you can use from a security perspective. I think Code Catalyst comes with Trivy as a GitHub action, but I've not had any experiences with it yet, so hard to say.
There's always something out there to discover, right?
There's always a new thing that you can try.
That's why I like to ask, because you ask somebody what they use and they'll throw something out there. I haven't heard of that one, so I have to go check it out. But yeah, so cool. Well, again, thanks for spending a little bit of time talking about security with me.
Thank you so much.
I hope that for those of you watching, I hope you found this beneficial. And we'll see you next time in a hallway conversation.
Well, there you have it. Thank you for joining me in this hallway conversation. I hope you learned something from it. I know I certainly have. Again, be sure to subscribe for more interviews like this one and much, much more. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.